Well, it's been about 2 weeks since that last video, and judging by the fact that the bus just rolled backwards because I put it in gear. Judging by the fact that we're not in the garage, the bus did pass the inspection, passed it with flying colors, although the inspection was a little bit weaker than I thought it would be. They just checked the lights. That's basically all they did, and shut the doors a couple times and printed me out a new title. So anyway, I figured I'd do a walk around of the bus in its current state, and just talk about some things that I've done over the last couple of weeks since the inspection. One thing you might be able to notice is I bought some new tires. They are Firestone load-rated all-season tires. I went with all seasons versus something like an AT tire because I don't ever really plan on driving this thing in the winter, and all seasons will be fine for if I do a little bit of off-roading. Walking around, as you can see, the next thing on the agenda really is a paint job. The paint is like 3 different colors of yellow, and it looks a bit shit, I'll be perfectly honest. But a paint job is really expensive, so I'm debating whether or not I want to try to paint it in my garage, or just make it look decent like this, and then save up the money to get a really nice paint job that's going to cost, you know, $2 or $3 grand. Moving on. The interior is about the same. I still really need to give this all a good going over, like refinish all of the wood. I'm going to take all the curtains off, and of course put the canvas top on, the new one. I did buy one, I just haven't gotten around to putting it on. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reattach all of this laminate material. I don't really know what this is, this vinyl that's coming off of the wood. I have to take all this off and glue all of that back on. Probably just going to use either some spray adhesive or some contact cement for that. You can see how I have my tripod set up. If anybody's watching this video and they want to make a really nice POV driving shot of a VW bus, just tape a tripod, your 2 front tripod legs, just tape them to the seatbelt posts, and it works very nicely, right in the middle of the windshield. Go ahead and close the slider here. Other than that, a couple minor things I did. I fixed all of the exhaust leaks, so the bus is nice and quiet. Admittedly, the exhaust now has about 1.5 pounds of muffler sealant paste on it, but I'm piecing together a complete exhaust, mostly off of pieces bought off of the Samba, and we're going to put a whole new exhaust on this thing. The heater boxes on it are stellar. As I mentioned in a previous video, I think, the previous owner replaced the heater boxes on this thing, I don't even know, a couple years ago with brand new German ones, so the heat actually works really well, but the exhaust, the rest of it, I don't know if it's original. It might be original, or it might just be old. It's just pretty rusty, and it leaked a lot at the flanges, so put some muffler paste on there for the time being, and I'll start working on piecing together a complete exhaust for it. The bus actually drives very well. It kind of impressed me of how well, not it handles exactly, but how comfortable it feels on city roads and highways and at high speeds. I've taken it up to about 65 miles an hour and cruised like that for a while, and it was perfectly happy. The engine stayed cool. I got out and measured the underside of the heads with my little digital thermometer, and it wasn't getting too hot, and the engine sounded good, and the vehicle felt very stable. I'm not going to really take it any higher than about 65 though. I'd say it can probably do 70 comfortably, but anything over that, you're kind of pushing it. Other than that though, other than getting a paint job and maybe some more, you know, cosmetics, I think it runs and drives pretty well. I'll go ahead and set you guys up on the tripod inside, and we'll go take it for a drive. Okay, so this is actually the second time I'm shooting this driving footage, because the first time I shot it all, my camera decided that it was going to zoom itself in randomly halfway through shooting. So hopefully it doesn't do that again, but it gives me a chance to roll the windows up so you can actually hear me talk. So we're out for a drive here. Gonna drive around some back roads. I'm not gonna take it on the highway or anything, because one, I don't have a lot of time today, and two, I don't really have anywhere to go. So drive around here a little bit. I said in the first take that the bus really drives very well. There's not a lot that I need to work on in terms of drivability. I do need a new right front, I almost said strut. I need a new right front shock. It's clunking a little bit over some bumps. Thank you kindly, sir. So I'm just going to replace all 4 shocks because I figure they're probably pretty old, and they probably need to be replaced. I can't tell you how much more pleasurable it is to drive the bus now that it has properly load-rated tires on it. Before, it had these awful old Michelins that were not load-rated. I think they were for a Beetle, and so it was just horrible to drive. It felt like the bus was riding on a waterbed, and it was just a really, really disconcerting feeling. But these tires are load-rated, and they make the bus handle very nicely indeed. Heard a little bit of a clunk there. That's that shock. It's really nice how high you sit up in this thing. I typically drive Subarus, and so that was a little bit of a tight squeeze there. I typically drive Subarus like that, right there, that just went by, and they sit really low to the ground, even though, you know, Outbacks with lifted suspension. This thing sits so high off the ground, and then inside you sit so high up in it, you get a great view of the road. Combined with the fact that, I mean, the A-pillars are tiny due to the fact that this car has no rollover protection. The visibility is just fantastic, especially for a car this large. It really is a greenhouse in here, as they say. Doing this again also gave me a chance to roll the windows up. It's pretty blustery outside today, so I think I was getting a lot of wind noise in those first couple takes. One thing I do want to fix is I got a shifter bushing kit. The shifter vibrates. I don't know if you can hear that. It's very annoying on the highway. It still shifts very well, though. It's not super janky and loose like they get when they're really worn out. Hear that vibration? Super annoying. I also can't tell you how nice it is to have fixed all the exhaust leaks. When I first started driving this thing, it was so unbearably loud. I was always afraid that I was bothering the neighborhood driving it around, but I mean now it's great. The torsion bar suspension, it really soaks up the bumps surprisingly well for a vehicle that's this big. Typically you'd think a vehicle this big and this heavy would ride pretty bad, but the torsion bar suspension does a really nice job of absorbing the bumps, especially with these big tires I've got on it. And the acceleration is perfectly competent. It gets up to speed and keeps up with traffic without a problem. As a matter of fact, speed feels pretty slow because you're sitting so high up, and I have a tendency to find myself going, 5 to 10 miles an hour over the speed limit if I'm not careful, because I don't feel the speed like I feel it in a lower car. Handling is pretty good. I guess. I don't know. It's pretty floaty. The brakes are competent. I'm going to be doing new pads and just having the motors turn, as well as adjusting the rear drums and bleeding the brakes. The pedal isn't spongy, but it has a lot of travel. So I'd like to try to firm that up a little bit. and the rotors are pretty pitted from sitting so long. The brakes and rotors, the brake pads are still perfect on it, and the rotors they've got lots and lots of nice meat on them, but they're just pitted from sitting, so they squeak a little bit, and I don't think they're making great contact. Of course, solid rotors. VW buses don't have nice ventilated rotors like a modern car. So you do get a bit of brake fade, but I've never had a time that I really had to do a seriously hard stop other than to just test them and make sure the brakes were working. When I first started driving this thing, I did a couple of nice hard stops, and it'll lock up all 4 tires pretty easily. At least it would with the terrible old Michelins on it. I think it'd be a little bit harder with these nice Bridgestones. But this is cruising at 40. It's very pleasant. Is. I'm going 40. Apparently I'm actually going 38. That was very scary when I was on my way to get the new tires. This is a hill that's also a turn, and I was white knuckles on the way down with the old tires. It was understeering so badly, and the sidewall, because it's of course not load rated, hear that strut clunking over there, shock. It was just rolling the sidewall over and understeering like crazy, and it was absolutely terrifying. I have no idea how the previous owner drove this thing as much as he did. Just whip around and go back up that same road. Perfect either. All right, here we go. Let's go up some hills. Because the muffler's rusted out internally. At least it's not barking anymore. The classic bug it, bug it, bug it, bug it, bug it. and all your exhaust flanges start leaking on the old air-cooled engines. I wanted to try to weld them, but I just couldn't get a good bead going. So unfortunately I had to resort to that muffler compound. It works well though, especially since there's no way to get that exhaust apart without destroying it anyway. So when the time comes, I'll be cutting it off. So I didn't really mind squirting some of that stuff in there. And it does just quiet down wonderfully. Another kind of fun thing, I don't know, some people love this and some people hate this. Everybody waves at you. People wave, people smile, people take pictures. It doesn't matter what kind of person it is. Sometimes it's old hippies, sometimes it's like people my age in their early 20s. Sometimes it's people with like little kids. That was a big old pothole right there. A friend of mine and I were having a conversation the other day. He's got a Corvette, and he says, and he's right, that more guys come to talk to him about the Corvette and more girls come to talk to me about the VW bus. So I guess if you want to pick up girls, get a VW bus, not a Corvette. Although, for a good condition Corvette, I think it's legitimately cheaper, depending on what year you get, than a good condition VW bus, because these things have gotten so absurdly expensive. Subscribers I've gotten after starting the series with the VW bus. This is probably going to be the last VW bus video for a while until I do something else to it, like maybe replacing the shocks or something like that. Got a couple other projects coming down the pipeline. I just bought a new daily driver car. I'm going to make a whole video series on that probably. And I'd like to get back to doing some small engine content as well, because people just really like that stuff. I haven't, it's June now and I haven't even gotten the Lawn Boys out yet. So I figure like we should probably do that one of these days. But just stop here and let this guy go past. I'll be a nice person. That truck had a bumper sticker on it that said Elmer Fudd for president. Nah, that's something I can get behind. Other than this video though, I don't really know what else there is to talk about with the bus. I plan on taking it on a couple of short trips and maybe a couple longer trips just to stretch the wheels and just get it back into the hang of driving around. I haven't done a lot of highway trips. I've probably only done maybe 30 to 50 miles on the highway. But it drove really nice in those 30 to 50 miles. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned. I'll be making some really nice videos coming out. I taught myself Final Cut a lot better than I had been. So anyway, stay tuned, everyone. Thanks for watching. Got a lot of good videos lined up to come out over the next couple months. I recently picked myself up a new copy of Final Cut. I've been using, I don't even remember what, like Final Cut Pro 8 or something for close to a decade. And I just got Final Cut 11 or whatever the new one is, Final Cut Pro 10, not sure. And it's, wow, it's really nice. So I'll definitely be able to make some higher quality videos. I think probably people have already noticed the video quality has skyrocketed in the last like 3 or 4 videos just because I got that new version of Final Cut, which is so much easier to use and allows me to do so much more quickly. But anyway, I'll see you all later, and thanks for watching.